Welcome to the Gingerbread Trail, a whimsical retelling of the classic fairy tale Hansel and Gretel, brought to you by the Brothers Grimm and my vivid imagination. Get around, my fellow adventurers! Today I have a fairy tale of siblings' triumph and sugary trickery. It all began in a quaint little village nestled amidst a sprawling forest, where the air was thick with the aroma of pine needles and old smoke.
Oh, I love a good setting. Was it like a fairy tale village with cobblestone streets and colorful houses?
Probably more like a backwater burg with mud-splattered huts and gossiping villagers.
According to my research, the village was known for its gingerbread production. Perhaps that played a role in the story?
Indeed, Mouse, your research is as impeccable as ever. Gingerbread was the heart and soul of this village, its sweet scent wafting through the air like a siren's song. But amidst this sugary paradise, a dark secret lurked.
Ooh, I love a good secret. Spill the tea, Grey.
In a humble cottage on the outskirts of the village lived a woodcutter named Woodrow. He was a kind and gentle soul, with toughened hands and a heart as warm as a freshly baked pie.
Woodrow. What a charming name. I bet he was a real heartthrob with the village's maidens.
Please, spare us the romantic drivel. Let's get to the juicy stuff.
Patience, my impatient friend. The juicy stuff is yet to come. Woodrow had a wife named Rosabella, a true beauty with smooth golden hair and eyes that sparkled like sunlight on dew.
Rosabella. What a lovely name. I bet she had the most fabulous wardrobe in the village.
Well, fashion is undoubtedly important. Let's not forget that Rosabella played a crucial role in the story. She was the mother of Hansel and Gretel, the two protagonists in our tale.
Precisely, Moss. Rosabella was a devoted mother, showering the children with love and affection. Hansel, the elder of the two, was a clever and resourceful boy, with a naughty streak. Gretel, the younger, was a sweet and gentle girl with a heart full of kindness.
Sounds like the perfect recipe for adventure. I can already smell the gingerbread and trouble brewing.
Trouble is my middle name, my friend. Let's see how these two brats handle it.
Brats, you say? I assure you, Hansel and Gretel were far from brats. They were simply children caught in a web of unfortunate circumstances.
Oh, don't be so harsh, Slim. I'm sure Hansel and Gretel were adorable, just like little gingerbread cookies.
While their cuteness is undeniable, let's not lose sight of the fact that their lives were about to take a drastic turn.
Indeed, Moss. Tragedy struck when Rosabella fell ill and passed away, leaving Woodrow heartbroken and alone with his two children.
Oh no, poor Woodrow. Losing a loved one is never easy.
Poor Hansel and Gretel. Losing their mother must have been devastating. This story just went from sweet to sour faster than a batch of spoiled milk.
In his grief, Woodrow searched for comfort in the arms of another woman, a widow named Brunhilda. Brunhilda was the polar opposite of Rosabella, with a cold heart and a sharp tongue.
Brunhilda? That name sounds vaguely familiar. Wasn't she a notorious figure in German mythology?
You are indeed a fountain of knowledge, Moss. Brunhilda was indeed a powerful figure in mythology, but our Brunhilda was no Valkyrie. She was a crafty and manipulative woman who saw the children as a burden.
Brr. I don't like the sound of this Brunhilda. She sounds like a real witch.
Don't say the word. It gives me the chills. Relax, you two. Witches are just fairy tales feeling. There is no such thing in the real life.
Are you sure about that, Slim? Remember, this is a story of sugary deception. Nothing is quite what it seems. Brunhilde quickly established herself as the mistress of the household. Her strong determination easily controlled Woodrow, just like a strong wind controls a small branch. She made no secret of her despise for Hansel and Gretel, forcing them to do all the work while she went about satisfying her favorite pastime of critiquing the villagers' fashion choices.
Sounds like Brunhilde could have used a few pointers from your Trude. My fashion sense is legendary even among the woodland creatures.
Spare us the fashion commentary, Frank. We're in the middle of crisis here.
Indeed, Brunhilde's cruelty is the clear violation of the United Nations Convention of the Rights of the Children. We must condemn her action in the strongest possible terms.
While your moral outrage is admirable, Moss, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Brunhilde's wickedness was only just beginning to unfold.
Oh dear, I have a bad feeling about this. I don't like where this story is going.
Don't worry, Ella. There is still hope for Hansel and Gretel. They may be young, but they're not helpless. One day, as Brunhilde was berating the children for a minor mistake, a wicked plan began to form in her twisted mind. She whispered to Woodrow that he could no longer afford to feed the children and that they must be abandoned in the forest.
Abandoned in the forest? That's horrible. How could Brunhilde even suggest such a thing?
That witch! I knew she was up to no good. She deserves to be banished to the darkest corner of the forest, where the sunlight never shines.
This is a clear case of child endangerment. Woodrow should be held accountable for his negligence.
Woodrow was indeed blinded by Brunhilde's manipulation, but he wasn't entirely without conscience. He hesitating agreed to the plan, hoping that the children would somehow find their way back home.
Poor Hansel and Gretel, they must be terrified, all alone in the dark forest with no one to protect them.
Fear not, Ella. Hansel and Gretel were not as defenseless as they seemed. Hansel, being the clever boy that he was, had overheard Brunhilde's plan. He knew that they were in grave danger, and that he had to do something to save himself and his sister. Late that night, while everyone was asleep, Hansel crept out of the house and gathered a pocketful of pebbles. He knew that if they were abandoned in the forest, the pebbles would help them find their way back home.
Clever Hansel. I knew he would come up with a plan. He's a regular MacGyver.
I'll admit that was a smart move, but let's see how long his luck holds out.
Hansel's quick thinking demonstrates his adaptability and problem-solving skills. These are essential traits for survival in any situation.
You're absolutely right, Moss. Hansel's ingenuity will prove to be their salvation. The next morning, Brunhilde woke the children early and gave them a small piece of bread for their journey. She then led them deep into the forest, pretending to search for firewood.
Oh no, Brunhilde is really going through with her plan.
Don't worry, Ella. Hansel has a secret weapon, his pebble trail.
As they walked, Hansel discreetly dropped the pebbles one by one. Brunhilde, unaware of Hansel's cleverness, continued to lead them further and further into the forest.
This is getting good. I can't wait to see the look on Brunhilde's face when she realizes she's been outsmarted by a couple of kids.
Finally, after what seems like an eternity for the children, Brunhilde stopped and declared that they had reached their destination. She instructed Hansel to gather firewood while she and Gretel rested. Hansel, pretending to comply, wandered off into the thicket, secretly dropping his remaining pebbles along the way.
A wise precaution. It's always good to have a backup plan.
I bet Brunhilde is kicking herself right now for not checking his pockets.
Maybe she was too busy admiring her reflection in the puddle. Vanity is a terrible flaw, darling.
Indeed, Frank. Vanity was one of Brunhilde's many flaws. While Hansel was busy securing their escape route, Brunhilde built a small fire, and beckoned Gretel to sit beside her.
Oh no, I don't like the sound of this. Brunhilde is up to something sinister?
Your intuition is correct, Ella. Brunhilde's intentions were far from innocent. She had no intention of letting the children return home. As darkness fell and Hansel returned with a meager pile of twigs, Brunhilde revealed her true colors. She cackled gleefully and declared that she and Woodrow would be leaving the children in the forest to fend for themselves.
That's despicable. How could she abandon those poor children in the middle of nowhere?
I hope she gets eaten by wolves, or better yet, a pack of rabid squirrels.
This is a clear case of child abandonment, a punishable offense in any civilized society.
While your anger is understandable, my friends, let's not forget that Hansel and Gretel were not entirely helpless. As Brunhilde and Woodrow turned to leave, Hansel whispered to Gretel to wait until the moon rose.
Why wait for the moon? What good would that do?
That's the beauty of Hansel's plan. You see, the pebbles were not ordinary pebbles. They were moonstones shimmering in the moonlight.
Moonstones. That's brilliant. Hansel is a genius.
I'll admit that was a clever twist. I didn't see that coming.
Hansel's resourcefulness is truly commendable. He used the limited resources available to him to create a solution.
As the moon rose, its silvery light illuminated the path back home, guiding Hansel and Gretel through the dark forest. They followed the trail of moonstones, their heart pounding with both fear and hope.
Oh, please, let them make it home safely. I can't bear the thought of them being lost and alone in the woods.
Have faith, Ella. The moonstones were their guiding light, leading them back to the familiar warmth of their cottage. After what seems like an eternity, Hansel and Gretel emerged from the forest, their clothes torn and their faces streaked with tears. But they were alive and safe, much to the dismay of Brunhilde, who had been anticipating their demise.
They made it! Hooray for Hansel and Gretel!
I guess even a broken clock is right twice a day.
This is a valuable lesson in the importance of perseverance and resourcefulness.
Indeed, most. Hansel and Gretel's triumph over adversity is a testament to the power of human spirit. But their story is far from over. The forest still holds many secrets, and danger lurks around every corner.
Hey guys, what do you call a mushroom that's always the life of the party?
A fungi?
No, a morale support system.
Wait, what is a morale support system?
It's a network of fungi that helps other plants grow and thrive. They're like the cheerleaders of the forest, always there to lend helping hand and lift everyone's spirits.
And now, dear listeners, we invite you to take a moment of yourselves. For those who need a brief respite, close your eyes, picture the shimmering leaves, the soft glow of the moonstones, and the gentle whisper of the wind through the trees. Allow the calming energy of the forest to wash, bringing peace. For those of you ready to continue our adventure, let's rejoin Hansel and Gretel as they face the unknown depths of the forest. And so Brunhilde, her heart as cold as the winter winds that whipped through the village, grew impatient with the children's return.
Typical. The wicked stepmother always gets worse the second time around. What a hack.
Such cruelty is a stain on humanity.
Oh, those poor children. Lost in the woods again. It's too much to bear.
Don't worry, Ella. I'm sure Hansel has another trick in his sleeve.
Brunhilde, driven by a mix of spite and desperation, hatched a new plan. One moonless night, She woke Hansel and Gretel, their eyes barely open, and offered them a meager crust of bread.
A crust of bread. That's barely enough for a mouse. What food for two growing children. Oh no, this is terrible. She's practically starving them.
This is a clear case of child abuse. Brunhilde should be brought to justice for her crimes.
Take this,
she hissed.
and follow me to the woods. We'll gather berries for a pie.
Berries? In the middle of the night? That sounds suspicious.
Yeah, more like berries for the birds. Brunhilde's not fooling anyone.
The children, their trust broken, but their spirits not yet crushed. They followed Brunhilde into the inky blackness of the forest.
The forest at night must be so scary. All those strange noises and shadows.
Indeed. The darkness would amplify their fear and sense of isolation.
This time, Hansel had no pebbles, only a handful of breadcrumbs. He crumbled them along the path, hoping they would lead them back home. But as dawn broke, they discovered the birds had feasted on their makeshift trail, leaving them utterly lost and alone once more.
Poor Hansel, his plan backfired.
Looks like the birds were hungrier than the kids. Oh dear, they're all alone in the woods again. What will they do?
A sense of dread settled upon them as they wandered through the dense undergrowth. The airy silence broke only by the rustling of leaves and the calls of unseen creatures. Their hunger intensive, their step faltered, and despair began to gnaw at their young hearts. The forest still holds many secrets, and danger lurks around every corner. As the moon climbed higher in the sky, casting long, eerie shadow across the forest floor, Hansel and Gretel pressed on their stomachs, rumbling and their spirits flagging.
Oh no, they must be so hungry and scared. I hope they find something to eat soon. What do you expect to find in the middle of the woods? A gourmet picnic basket?
Edible plants and berries are abundant in this region, but one must be knowledgeable to distinguish them from poisonous varieties.
Don't say that. You're scaring Kewa. I'm sure Hansel and Gretel will find something delicious. Maybe a magical vending machine filled with gingerbread snacks.
While a magical vending machine will be a delightful twist, my dear Frank, the reality of their situation was far less whimsical. Hunger gnawed at their bellies, and fatigue weighed heavy on their legs. Just when they were about to give a hope, a wondrous sight appeared before their eyes. A house nestled among the trees, its all walls constructed entirely of gingerbread, and its roof adorned with candy tiles.
A gingerbread house! Oh, how magical! I want to live there. That's too good to be true. There's something fishy about this.
Indeed, the sudden appearance of such a confectionery dwelling raises several questions. What is its purpose? Who built it? And most important, is it safe?
Your skepticism is well-founded, my friends. The gingerbread house was indeed a trap, a lure for unsuspecting children. But Hansel and Gretel, driven by hunger and desperation, were blind to the danger. They rushed towards the house, their mouths watering at the sight of the sugary delights that adorned its walls. They nibbled on the gingerbread shingles, licked the frosting windows, and devoured the candy decoration with reckless abandon.
I can almost taste it. Gingerbread and kanji, my two favorite food groups.
Don't forget for the frosting, Frank. It's the best part. I'd rather eat dirt than that sugary monstrosity. It's a recipe for cavities and diabetes.
While the nutritional value of gingerbread is debatable, let's not forget that Hansel and Gretel were starving. They were not in position to be picky eaters.
As they feasted on the gingerbread house, a voice called out from within.
Nibble, nibble, little mouse, who is nibbling at my house?
Hansel and Gretel froze, their heart pounding with fear. They had been discovered. A frail old woman emerged from the doorway, her back hunched and her eyes glinting with a strange light. She beckoned the children inside, promising them warm food and soft bed to sleep in.
Oh no, it's the witch! I knew this was a trap.
Don't worry, Ella. Maybe she was not as bad as she looked. Maybe she's just lonely and wants some company.
Yeah, right. And maybe pigs can fly? That old hack, it's up to no good. I can smell it.
While it's important to remain cautious, let's not jump to conclusions. Perhaps the witch is simply misunderstood?
Misunderstood indeed, Moss, but the witch's motives were far from pure. She lured Hansel and Gretel inside with promise of comfort and care, but her true intentions were far more sinister. Once inside, the witch ushered the children into a cozy living room where a roaring fire crackled in the hearth and the air was thick with the aroma of gingerbread baking in the oven. She offered them warm milk and a plate of freshly baked gingerbread cookies, which they ate eagerly.
Those cookies sound delicious. I could go for a gingerbread cookie right now.
Me too, but let's not forget that we're in the middle of story. We can indulge in sugary treats later.
I still don't trust that witch. She's probably fattening them up for a feast.
It's a common trope in fairy tales. The villain often attempts to lure the protagonist into a false sense of security before revealing their true intentions.
You're quite a literary scholar, Moss. But you're right, the witch was playing a long game. She treated Hansel and Gretel with kindness, but her true motives were far more nefarious. After their meal, the witch led the children to a bedroom with 2 cozy beds. Exhausted from their journey, they fell asleep instantly, unaware of the danger that awaited them. The next morning, the witch crept into the Hansel's room and locked him in a cage. She then woke Gretel and forced her to become her servant, cooking, cleaning, and tending to her every whim.
Oh no! This is terrible! How could she be so cruel?
I knew it! That witch is a real monster!
I told you, she is up to no good. But don't worry, I'm sure Hansel and Gretel will find a way out of this mess.
This is a clear violation of human rights. The witch should be held accountable for her actions.
Indeed, Moss, the witch's cruelty knew no bounds. She fed Hansel a diet with rich food, hoping to fatten him up for her own consumption. Meanwhile, Gretel was forced to work tirelessly, her tiny hands scrubbing pots and pans until they were raw. Every day the witch would visit Hansel in his cage, poking and prodding him to assess his plumpness.
Are we fucked yet?
She would cackle, her eyes gleaming with anticipation. Hansel, being the clever boy that he was, knew that he had to outsmart the witch. He would offer her a chicken bone instead of his finger.
That's clever trick. Hansel is a quick thinker.
It's a good start, but he'll need more than a chicken bone to escape that cage.
Indeed, Hansel's ingenuity is admirable, but it's only a temporary solution. He needs a long-term plan.
Meanwhile, Gretel, though heartbroken and terrified, was not one to sit idle by. She knew that she had to save her brother before it was too late.
Go, Gretel! Show that wicked witch who's the boss! About time someone took charge. This damsel in distress act is getting cold.
While Gretel's bravery is commendable, let's not forget that she is just a child. She'll need to be careful not to underestimate the witch's cunning.
Don't worry, Mouse. Gretel is resourceful. I'm sure she'll come up with a brilliant plan. Maybe she'll bake for the witch a poisoned gingerbread cookie?
While a poisoned cookie would certainly be a dramatic twist, Gretel's plan was far more subtle. She bided her time observing the witch's daily routine and searching for weakness to exploit. One day, as the witch was stoking the fire in the oven, Gretel noticed a peculiar detail. The witch's eyesight was failing and she had to rely on her sense of touch to gauge the heat of the oven.
That's it! That's Gretel's chance! I knew she was smarter than she looked.
This is the prime example of situational awareness. Gretel was able to identify a vulnerability in the witch's defense and use it to her advantage.
Gretel seized the opportunity. When the witch asked her to check if the oven was too hot enough for baking, Gretel pretended to be unsure. She asked the witch to demonstrate how to test the temperature. The witch, growing impatient, opened the oven door and leaned inside to feel the heat. In that instant, Gretel shoved the witch into the oven and slammed the door shut.
Yes, Gretel did it.
That's my girl. Who needs a knight in shining armor when you got a clever sister?
While Gretel's actions were undoubtedly justified, let's not forget that violence is never the ideal solution.
I don't even want to know what happened to the witch. I'm just glad Hansel and Gretel are safe.
Indeed, Ella. The witch's demise was gruesome but it was necessary sacrifice to ensure the children's freedom. With the witch out of the way, Gretel freed Hansel from his cage, and the two siblings gathered as much treasure as they could carry from the gingerbread house. They then set off into the woods, following the trail of moonstones back home.
They're rich. They can buy now all the gingerbread they want.
Don't get your hopes up, Frank. I doubt they'll find another gingerbread house in the middle of the woods.
The true treasure is not the material wealth, but the bond between siblings. Hansel and Gretel's love for each other helped them overcome adversity and emerge from their ordeal stronger than ever.
As they journeyed home, Hansel and Gretel encountered many obstacles, but they faced them with courage and determination. They learned to rely on each other, their bond growing stronger with each challenge they overcame. When they finally reached home, they were greeted with open arms by their father Udro, who had deeply regretted abandoning them in the forest. Brunhilda, having discovered the witch's fate, had fled the village in fear, never to be seen again.
Oh, I'm so happy for them. They're finally home safe and sound.
This called for a celebration. Let's bake a giant gingerbread house and invite the whole village.
As long as there's no witch lurking inside, I mean.
Indeed, a celebration is in order, that even in the darkest of times, hope and resilience can triumph over evil.
That's a wonderful story, Gray. It's getting late though. Maybe we should head home soon.
Agreed. But before we go, I have one more joke for y'all.
Oh no, not another one.
What did the moon say to the sun?
Good morning.
You're so bright?
Nope. The moon said, "Don't worry, I'll see you around."
Sweet dreams, everyone. May your sleep be as peaceful as a moonlit forest. Now, as you prepare for slumber or simply a moment of quiet reflection, let the warmth of this story linger in your thoughts. Close your eyes and imagine yourself nestled in a cozy bed, surrounded by the sweet scent of gingerbread. Feel the gentle rise and fall of your chest as you drift off to sleep. Your dreams filled with moonlight forest and magical